That's what Juali charged us to do. That's what Juali is doing, and he asks us to assist him in the upliftment of fallen humanity. And in this picture, humanity is written on the sister's womb. One foot on land, one foot in the sea. This is our objective. You know the old saying that when we pick our women up, we go up. Or you know the concept of the Moorish movement being a matriarch. Our system is matriarch. Our fez represents the womb, the umbilical cord. Go to rvbaypublications.com. Go to sevensealspublication.com. Go to canaanlandmoors.webs.com. And on those websites, you can get many links to further information on the science of the fez, on more science in general. So don't take it from somebody on YouTube who's just ranting and raving based on information that he's never asked about. He's never come to a meeting. He's never asked them more to simply explain, why do y'all call each other Asiatics and not black people? And that can be really explained. But you have people out there, infiltrators, who will use something like that personally, not want to get to the answer because their intention is to turn it into a game. A lot of people have antics, a lot of people have personal agendas. We don't hate them. What ends up happening is, if we present our information right, those people will see the light one day. Because like me and you, we all came from, organizations that were withholding this science, that were withholding Juali, and now we've been able to open our eyes, and we give thanks that we're able to. We give thanks for the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, because if it wasn't for these organizations, we would not know who Juali is right now. We would not know who he is. We would still be stuck in the same situations we're in, and we would have been sold the sovereignty movement. The sovereignty movement is not for us. We are the true sovereigns, and our movement is true sovereignty, but the sovereignty movement is something designed by them. We can get into all that, just like the Back to Africa movement. Study. So give thanks for our prophet, give thanks. That's all.
Islam, once again, was what we're gonna delve into right now is the words of the prophet. So this is from the oral statements of Prophet Noble Ali. I forgive you for everything that you did before I came. Now you are responsible for your deeds now. Same thing that the sergeant was just saying. That we have to accept responsibility. I'll tell you straight up that Moors sold their brothers into slavery. That's what it is. Nothing to hide, nothing to beat around the bush about. That's what went down. Right? We have to be responsible for the fact that we did that. We sold our own people into slavery. And now we want to pretend like, well, nah, it wasn't us, it was the whatever Moors that did it. And Moors are Moors, right? The only thing that distinguishes Moors is whether they're active or whether they're passive, whether they're faithful or unfaithful, whether they're loyal or unloyal. But regardless of where your loyalty lies, whether it's with the corporate states or whether your loyalty lies with the movement, you're still a Moor. And a Moor is any dark-skinned person, any African, any Ethiopian, any Negro is a Moor. The Holy Prophet told the Moors, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. Many Moors refuse to realize that yourself means everybody else, not just yourself as in, well, I'm going to harbor all this information and sit on it and not tell anybody. The Moors' charge was to go uplift all humanity. And until we start doing that, you're going to get dirty Moors to deal with. You're going to have to deal with passive Moors because some people just aren't worthy to hold the scepter. And it's nothing against those people. If you're not worthy to hold the scepter, cool. How about give it to the children? Let them get a chance to hold it if you want to be passive. Instead of holding up your children in pictures without their fezzes on, how about you get them their fez so that they can actually get that power from the feminine principle in order to exercise the work that has to get done, just like the Prophet said to do. Moors, be yourself. In the year 2000, the Moors will come into their own. It's 2010 right now. And trust me, the Moors are coming into their own by doing things like this, by challenging the sellouts who refuse to admit that they're sellouts and humble themselves and correct themselves. One thing I notice about passive Moors is that passive Moors love to go back to people's dirt that they did in order to say that they're not loyal or that they're not good Moors or they're fake Moors or whatever the case is. If somebody graduates, if somebody failed kindergarten 1 year and then the next year they pass kindergarten, you're not going to go back to the year that they failed and tell them that they're worthless and you're dumb and you didn't study. You're gonna uplift them from where they started making their improvements. Moors fail to realize, especially the dirty, passive Moors, they fail to realize that they themselves have problems. Everybody has a little bit of nigger in them. Everybody has some dirty Moor in them. Sister was telling me the other day, like, yeah, it's really important that you look in the mirror because sometimes you say things, Cujo, that hurts people. And yeah, sometimes I do. But sometimes people also need to get talked to like that so they could really understand how severe the situation is that we're in right now. That it's not no time for games and bickering and arguing with Moors. It's either you're going to be active or you're going to be state property. And we don't have any options right now. It's either we're going to be who our ancient forefathers and foremothers were, or we're going to be corporate nigger property. And the Prophet said that the property is going to be going back to the government eventually. And he wasn't talking about the Moorish stuff. He was talking about the fact that they are going to start implementing things to get brothers, sisters, whoever, either locked up in prisons, in concentration camps, in jails, in mental institutions, because that's one of the big things that they're doing out here in this territory, right? Is that when you say that you're a Moor, or when you try to say that you're not a corporate person, they're saying that you're crazy and they're putting you in a mental institution. Or they're going to remove you from whatever jurisdiction you were arguing in and putting you into the mental institution and having to take tests and all that type of stuff just because you're saying that you're not a black person. Understand what we're dealing with out here. Understand that we're not pushing Moors out here not to be active. We're not telling Moors that they're not going to be challenged when they get in this information. Some people know some people, especially Moors in positions of power, know that when you start dealing with this information, they're going to challenge you, right? What am I dealing with right now as far as being challenged? I was exercising my Moorish birthright and traveling with my Moorish tags. The policy enforcers chose not to impound my car, not to lock me up. They just chose to steal my Moorish tags off my conveyance, off my private property, without impounding anything, without giving me tickets or nothing like that. They just said, you know what, we don't want you exercising your rights around here, and we're gonna just jack your plates. That's how they deal with us out here. Moors are gonna say that we're not active. Moors are gonna say that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that we need to follow the Supreme Grand Sheikh and we need to join. We don't have to do nothing that you dirty Moors say. Because I know the truth about my nationality and birthright. And according to the Prophet, he brought me everything to save a nation, and I'm taking it and I'm saving it myself. Because like I said earlier, I can't trust no Moors. I can only trust Moors who are active. And those are the only Moors that I deal with. Right? Islam to any Moors that I missed that are active and you know who you are. Islam to the Moors in Atlantis that's doing divine work with Grand Governor Hiru Ranasi El. That Moors want to say that, oh, well, he's a fake Moor and he has a fake temple and all that type of stuff. Yeah, you can make that claim, no problem. But the activity doesn't stop because you fake Moors want to point fingers at people instead of pointing fingers at yourself. Right? What else did Prophet Noble Ali tell us? Wake up, Moors, and don't sleep anymore. It's time for Moors to wake up. It's time for passive Moors who have been taught by infiltrators and other passive Moors to recognize that you're being lied to, and it's time to get out from under subordination and start acting like active Moors, because that's the charge. The purpose of proclaiming their nationality is to go out there and help the Prophet in his great missionary work that needs to be done. Because none of these institutions other than the Moorish Divine and National Movement is going to save these people. None of them. The only institution that is going to save these people from their sinful ways is the Moorish movement. That's it. Watch the newspapers and listen to the radio. I am going to make the European tell the truth. There's a lot of people who don't want to recognize the European as their brother. They want to think that every European is the hybrid. Not true. There's more Europeans in this jurisdiction of Ontario Territory that are helping the Moors in Ontario Territory than so-called Negro black colored people. There's Europeans assisting the Moors. And I want to give honors to amalgamated Moors, Europeans like Rick Smith, who's telling the truth about the Moorish history, the galactic Moorish history and the earthly Moorish history. I want to give honors to Peter Moon, who's telling the truth about the Moors and the Montauk Project and all these things that have to do with why we're even in this situation that we're in. I want to give honors to Brother Justice Bay, who's in court right now fighting with these Europeans, who he knows that he's part of, and he's finding some type of allegiance with Moors in order to better himself and better his situation for him and his family. I want to give honors to Brother Drupata KTS, amalgamated Moor, who proclaimed his nationality and has allegiance with Moors in Ontario Territory, and is teaching the people about their nationality and their birthrights through holistic health. European.